kuovonne here with a demo of how to use a button field in a shared view to update a record. My base has a table for projects, and I can share a view of these projects in this public shared view, but this shared view is read-only. I can't change the status of any of my projects. I can't give them new numbers. What I can do is I can click a button here. So this is for project number 1, and it opens a new form that tells me what the current status and number of this project are, and I can submit new values. I can say that this project is now done and it has a new number. I leave this reference number alone. We'll get back to that. I click submit. Now behind the scenes, an automation is running in my base that's going to update that record. So if I go back to my grid view and refresh, you can see now the status is done and my new number is in there. So let's take a look behind the scenes and see how this is set up. First off, in my projects table, I need to have 2 single line text fields. One of them is for the ID of the record to update, and another one is just to hold that project to update. Both of these fields are going to be pre-filled by the button that's clicked in it. So how do I get that pre-filled URL? Easiest way is use the pre-filled forms app, where you can pick the table and the form view. So this is the projects table and the update record form. And let's show that view so that I can grab the URL, paste it in, pick the table that's going to have the form. It's going to be the same table. And then for the project update, we're going to go ahead and pre-fill that with a field value, which is the original ID. The status, we're going to pre-fill that with the field value of the original status. And same with the number. And then for that ID of the record to update, we're going to actually fill that with a formula result, which is going to be record underscore ID, open parenthesis, close parentheses. Next. And then this gives me the formula where I can copy that formula and then go back to the grid view, and that is the formula that I paste in here for my open URL action on this button field. Okay? But it's already in there, so that's why I'm not pasting it in. So that's how you get that pre-filled URL. Then the second step is the automation. So the way this automation works is it's triggered when a form is submitted. So when a form is submitted in the update records. Okay? We're going to go ahead and run 2 actions. The first one is just a regular update record action. And here's the key. We're going to update the project table, but the record ID is not going to be the record ID of the triggering record. So normally what you would do is you'd say record from step 1, and then you take the Airtable record ID here. But we don't want this record ID because that's the one of the new record that was created when the form was submitted. What we want is this one down here, the ID of the record to update that was pre-filled in the form. So let's use that one here. And then the fields that we have are the status and the number. So we're just going to say let's update it based on the ones in the triggering record. And then we still have this record that's hanging out because whenever you submit a form, a new record is created, but we don't need this one anymore because we've updated the original record, so we can get rid of this one. But in an automation, the only way to delete a record is with a script. So I have a script here that's for deleting a triggering record, and this script is actually a script that is available in my script store. So if you go to kuovonne.gumroad.com and you search for helpers, you'll see I have these automation helpers, and it includes a script for deleting a triggering record here. So if we go back to the base here, to do that, you just buy the script, paste it in. You don't have to do anything in the script code itself, but you do have to create an input variable over here called record URL. Insert the record URL here, and then you're going to pick record from step 1, continue, and then this one here, Airtable record ID. You would insert that here. That's it. When testing the automation, it gets to be a little bit tricky because when a form is submitted, if you just tested this right now, it's not actually going to go for sure get a form result, so you don't know for sure it's actually going to have one that has a record ID pre-filled in it. So you might want to either test it with a slightly different trigger and then switch it, or you can say set it all up, turn it on, and then just fill in the form to test it. So there are a couple gotchas. One is you won't actually get to see who was the person who filled out that form and triggered it. So anyone with access to that form through the grid view can actually make those updates. And there is an automation that runs every single time that people are updating it. So I would not use this for people that need to do a lot of updates, but if it's just the rare occasion here or there, you can do that. Otherwise, you're going to end up running out of automation runs pretty soon. Okay. But for the people that are outside your organization that need occasional access to update one or two things, the system works pretty well.